Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and hello. Well, coming back to my class, continue the topic of 1.2 about structure formula. Okay, what is structure formula? Structure formula exactly is a chemical formula that shows how the atoms in a molecule are bonded to each other. It shows how all of the atom, example here, the atom in a molecule are bonded to each other. We have three types of structure formula. The first one is expanded structure, second one is condensed structure, and the third one is skeletal structure. Okay, the first type is about expanded structure. In easy mean expanded mean expand mean kembang. You have to kembang, you have to show all the bond between the atom. Okay, if you read here the definition here, and then this is it show carbon bonded with hydrogen, carbon bonded with hydrogen, carbon bonded with hydrogen. You have to show all the bond between each of the atom. That is mean by expanded. The second one is condensed. In easy word to understand, condensed mean mampat. Okay, structure does not show single bond. You should not show the single bond between carbon and hydrogen atom, but you have to show the other functional group such as double bond and triple bond. Example here. Okay, example here, how you draw it from here. From the first one, expanded, my dear, expanded. From expanded here, you have C, hydrogen. Okay, hydrogen here. Okay, this is expanded. You have to expand the structure. Okay, you expand the structure. When you say expanded, it will be like this. Okay, this is C, my dear. You condense it. Condense C, you have 1, 2, 3. You have 3 hydrogen, and then followed the second C. C, how many hydrogen you have? You have 2, CH2, and then the second one, C, hydrogen you have 2, and then C, CH3. That is mean by condensed. Okay, this is expanded structure. This is condensed structure. Okay, and then it said here, two or more similar group bonded to the same atom and branch are enclosed in bracket, and subscript numeral is used to indicate its number. Example here, the other one, to write the condensed, CH3. Okay, you have CH2, you have the same CH2, thereby you can bracket it, CH2, 2, because you have 2 CH2, and then CH3. This also we call as condensed structure. And then the third one is about skeletal structure. Okay, skeletal structure does not show carbon and hydrogen. You cannot show carbon and hydrogen. Show only the carbon skeletal. You know what is mean by skeletal? Skeletal mean rangka. Rangka. In other word, in Malay we call it as rangka. But functional groups such as OH and H2 must be shown. Other functional group you have to show. Bond are represented as line. The line here. Carbon atom are at the beginning. This is beginning, and this is corner. This is corner. Okay, example here. How to write the skeletal? Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon. We cannot show the carbon and hydrogen atom, but we have to show it by using skeletal, rangka. Okay, now. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 carbon. Okay, at each corner, this is the end, this is the beginning, this is the corner. Each of the corner, the beginning and the end will be our carbon atom. And exactly each of carbon here will have its own hydrogen. This is example, my dear. Draw expanded, condensed and skeletal structure of 3-methylbutane. This is 3-methylbutane. Expand, you have to show all the bonded atom between the atom. Okay, and then you condense it. Say the first one you have 2, you write CH2, show the double bond, my dear, double bond, and then C, you have one hydrogen bonded to its CH, and then you have CH3, you bracket at CH3 2 because you have 2 CH3, and then this is the skeletal structure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, at carbon 1 and 2, you have your double bond, and then you have your branch at carbon 3. This is your carbon 3. Okay, that is about the expanded, condensed and skeletal structure. Okay, the second one is about the classification of carbon atom. How exactly you want to classify your carbon atom? Okay, only sp3 hybridized carbon with 4 single bond atom is classified. Mean here, when you want to classify our carbon must be consist of single bond. sp3 carbon atom can be classified into primary carbon. How you want to classify it as primary carbon? Okay, example here, if you look, carbon, this is carbon. When the carbon here is attached to one other carbon, thereby here we call it as primary carbon. We can use this symbol, primary carbon, or you can write primary carbon. When this carbon is attached to the other 2 other carbon, okay, thereby the carbon here we call it as secondary carbon. And when the carbon here is attached to 3 other carbon, thereby we call it as tertiary carbon. And when carbon here is attached to 4 other carbon, the carbon here we call as quaternary carbon. You can use the symbol quaternary carbon, or you can write quaternary carbon. Okay, that is how we class the carbon atom. This is example, my dear, classification of carbon atom in 4-methylcyclopentane. Okay, this is the example. You should know that each of the corner here will be consist of carbon. If you look example here, okay, to make you more understand, okay, I will show. This is CH3, my dear. This is, you have C here, you have C here, you have C here, C and C, and then you have double bond here. Okay, here the first carbon here is attached to one carbon, thereby this is primary carbon. Carbon here is attached to 1, 2 carbon, thereby this is secondary carbon. And for this carbon also, C here is attached to 2 other carbon, thereby this is secondary carbon. And C here, how many carbon is attached to it? 1, 2, 3, thereby this will be tertiary carbon. And what about this? This carbon is attached to double bond. This carbon also is attached to double bond, thereby here no class of carbon because it is attached to double bond or triple bond. That is how we class the carbon atom. And then the second one, the third one is about classification of hydrogen atom. Hydrogen atom is classified based on the type of carbon atom to which it's bonded. Mean here, if you have primary carbon, thereby the hydrogen will be consist of primary carbon. Example here, this is primary carbon. Why this is primary carbon? Because it is bonded to one other carbon. This is primary carbon. When this is primary carbon, mean the hydrogen that is strictly bonded to it will be named as primary hydrogen. And same as second one, this is secondary carbon. Is it correct? C is bonded to 2 other C, thereby this is secondary carbon. Mean here the hydrogen here that is attached to secondary hydrogen, we call it as secondary hydrogen. Secondary carbon, okay, attached to it hydrogen. Hydrogen here will be secondary hydrogen. And the third one is tertiary hydrogen. C attached, this C is attached with 3 other C, mean this is tertiary carbon, thereby the hydrogen that is bonded straightly to this tertiary carbon is tertiary hydrogen. Okay, this is example of 4-methyl-cyclopentane. You have primary hydrogen, you have secondary hydrogen, and for your double bond, it will not have any class of hydrogen or carbon. Okay, that's all for today for our 1.2. Any problem, any question, you can ask me. Assalamualaikum and thank you for listening to my class.